94, 95, back-to-back championships. What was it like to get that first taste
It's called Tucson.
Of the ring?
Tucson.
They changed from Houston
Clutch
to Tucson.
City. You Google it right now, it's Clutch City. Clutch City. We made it where a city that was known for choking and not doing well to a city that could do well under pressure. And you know what the crazy thing about a championship? We were the first championship franchise, sports franchise ever in Houston. The Astros hadn't won. The football team
It wasn't
hadn't
even
won.
football back then, was there?
Yeah, no,
Oilers.
Oilers.
That's
Now
right.
the Texans. Nobody had won.
Right.
Ever until we won.
Oh, so it was crazy.
And I noticed a change in the city.
Oh, big change.
I didn't know that it would do that. Like, I always thought that it would have changed me and us. But I saw the way people moved in the city and with the way they thought. So it was a great feeling to go back to back. I think the second one felt better because we came from the 6th seed. We never had home court advantage. So we started every series on the road, 2 games on the road, the first 2 games. And we get off. So I had a thing where Dream and they was like, you gonna say it? I'm like, oh. So we come off the team plane, I'm like, and we be in another person's city, we're like, we're home. So I had to say it as soon as we land, we're home. Today, because we weren't home. We never started, like, we win a series and we going straight to the city. We can win in Houston, be like, damn, after the game, you gotta fly out. It's game 7, you flying out right after. So that second championship was the best.
With all due respect, within the context of your championships and kind of that era, that was a 2-year period that Mike had took off. How do you feel like you guys would have fared your 2 championships?
First of all, he didn't take off.
Or, excuse me, he went to go play.
He was playing he came back as number 45.
Yeah.
In the second one.
Second one, yeah.
He came back as number 45. And when he had 55 in the Garden, nobody was saying he was selling, he wasn't Mike. You know, we would have beat their ass. Because, like,
Dream was too much around that time.
No, think about this. There's a couple things. Michael's still the best player in the world that I've ever seen. But that means he would have had to win 8 championships in a row.
It's a lot.
He's not going to win 8 in a row. He's not. Nobody's done it in the modern era. He wouldn't have done that. Secondly, there was no Horace Grant.
That's right, he was gone.
He left. And then they became way too small. Because even that was regular season. In the regular season years, we went 7-1 against them or 6-2. They never beat us in the regular season. We used to go to Chicago, smack them, come back to Houston, smack them up. You know, they like BJ and Paxson, those guys were good players, but they were too slow for us in the perimeter. And no one, and Winnington and them couldn't guard them.
No chance.
And for some reason, Scotty wasn't Scotty then. He wasn't a scorer. He needed to score
another
more.
scorer.
So I think we would have got him because of that. There was no Rodman. Now, when they got Rodman, I'm like,
it's different.
I'm like, I don't know if them Rockets we would have got them, but they were too little
at that time.
And that's why Shaq and them got him. Because when he came back, it wasn't he was coming back from baseball. They were too little to guard Shaq. They lost to a team 4-2 that we swept. We swept Shaq and them.
Smacked them, yeah.
So, like, no. They would not have beaten us. And then if I didn't come in there and I'm not splashing you with 3s, Sam Cassell is coming in there giving you 25.
Yeah.
Robert Horry was the new Scottie Pippen then. He wasn't like standing outside and he was handling the ball, flying through the air. Otis was in the first one.
Yeah.
And then Clyde, they wouldn't have beat us. They would not have beat us because they were just too little and they wouldn't have won 8 in a row. Something would have happened. Somebody would have left because of contract. Somebody would have got hurt. Something. They wouldn't have beat us.
You made a great point right there. Back in the day, you didn't worry about being injured in the playoffs as much as they do now. You know, normally you had your guns when you was going into the big game. Now, championships have been won because key players have been missing. What do you think the difference is and why?
I think the lack of playing. I think there is load management, but the lack of not playing in a game, I think increases your ability to get hurt. Play less minutes.
No question.
Would help. If you don't ride, like, I don't know, on your days off, did it make you feel better or worse? For me, it made me feel worse.
I did something. I had to do even
still
some
had
on
to
my
do
day
something.
off just to keep,
And I think that these guys now are not taking the pounding, so then when they got a pound in the playoffs,
they're not ready.
Because you go from playing every other day, taking days off, to all of a sudden, oh man, I got to play 39, 46 minutes. And they're not used to the pounding. They're not used to it.
You were around 30 after the back-to-back championships and injuries started to set in. What's going through your mind?
Well, I always had to deal, you see the way I walk. Always had to deal with some like knee issues. Like, so I used to wake up in the morning and be like, oh, I'm gonna bust his ass today.
You could tell right away.
Yeah. Or, damn, not today. Like,
what do you feel when you do that now?
I'm like, I'm gonna get my ass busted today. I feel it now. Every day's not a good day. I'm gonna lose that race to the board.
Yeah.
Oh, damn, I'm gonna lose today. Oh, I gotta figure out a trick to get to the board fast. Oh, today I got him, you know. But no, I think, you know, for me, you know, especially being good early and so long, like having to carry that shoulder from high school to college, playing 4 years in college, you know, that took a toll on a 165-pound dude, you know? So by the time I was like 26, 27, when you're supposed to be hitting your superpowers, mine are like 28, 29, starting to fade. You know what I mean? Where like I gave a lot of those 8 good years early, but, you know, but you have the experience. Like experience, you can never
take that. You
can't. And people always say, well, what's experience? I'm like, experience just reduces anxiety. And if you don't have anxiety, you're going to perform.
Right.
Like, because I have the experience to know that I've done this and been in this position, so I don't have the anxiety of not knowing what's going on.
Right.
You know, so then I feel comfortable. I could see things that you can't see. You know, you can see things you can't see.